Hello everyone, welcome to Sharing Life Issues with Her Excellency Hajia Amina. I hope everybody is doing well today. Jumat Mubarak. Let's start with a prayer, or actually let's start with a greeting. I hope my Muslim brothers and sisters are also doing well. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the show, welcome to the program, and I do believe that you all are here. So, welcome to our Iririaye. Iririaye is the Labaran Dunia Akukondum Madu in my Nigerian dialect. So, I welcome all of you, and let's start with a prayer. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahu la ilaha illahu ahayyu qayyum la ta'khuzuhu sinatun wa la nawm lahu ma fi samawati wa man fil ardi man zal ladzi yashfa'u indahu illa bi izni ya'lamu ma bayna aydihim wa ma khalfahum wa la yahituna bi shay'in min ilmihi illa bima sha'a wasi'a kursiyyu samawati wal ard wa la yahudu hifdhuhuma wa huwa al-aliyyul azim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Kula a'udhu birabbin falaq min sharri ma khalaq wa min sharri ghasiqin idha waqab wa min sharri nafasati fil 'uqad wa min sharri hasidin idha hasad. Kula a'udhu birabbin nas malikin nas ilahin nas min sharri waswasin khannas allazi yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas min al-jannati wan nas. Bismillahil ladzi la yadurru ma ismihi shay'un fil ard wa la fis samai wa huwas samiul alim. Bismillahil ladzi la yadurru ma ismihi shay'un fil ard wa la fis samai wa huwas samiul alim. Bismillahil ladzi la yadurru ma ismihi shay'un fil ard wa la fis samai wa huwas samiul alim. أعوذ بكلمة الله التامة من شر ما خلق. أعوذ بكلمة الله التامة من شر ما خلق. أعوذ بكلمة الله التامة من شر ما خلق. رب نجني وعلي مما يعملون. رب نجني وعلي مما يعملون. رب نجني وعلي مما يعملون. Okay, I hope everybody's here, and I'm just trying to look to see if I can see all of you. Ekabo suretu yish. Na geiswa. I know you all love my music. However, YouTube has the music restrictions sometimes, so I'm still working on those to know, what kind of music is acceptable and what music is not acceptable. So that's why you've not been, hearing all my Nigerian Bedu and all that, because I do know you guys love music. However, we're just, taking that out for now because of the YouTube restrictions and all that. So because I don't want all those copyright stuff on it, so that way we can do our programs the right way. So today, like the title says, he used me for papers. When we say he used me for papers, a lot of people are like, what does that mean? So here we are telling you real life stories, things that happen in our community, in our society. So it's quite unfortunate that things are happening. Some people know about it, some people don't. And some people, help the perpetrators to enable things, because what do we call them? They are enablers. So you find family members, pastors, imams, teachers, to name but a few, like a lot of people around, trying to enable people to do things that they're not supposed to do. So my story today would be about a very hardworking woman, a high-class woman, a resilient woman, you name it. I don't even know what to say. A lot of times people would say, when somebody is a victim of domestic violence, maybe they are a failure. I do not see them as a failure. I see you as a resilient woman. A lot of people who can be out there looking at you didn't have the guts to do what you did, didn't have the ball or the guts to move on, didn't have the guts to say, this is not for me, I'm picking up my bags. Or they didn't have the guts to say, I cannot take the abuse any longer, I'm out of here. Why? Because they wanted to remain Mrs. Do not get me wrong, we're not preaching that people should not be married here. However, marriage should be enjoyed and not endured. We were raised in our African community, because this, I would say, happened in our African society, again, in the community. So we are always raised to believe that a woman who, takes all the abuse is a woman that is a wife material. When people say wife material, sometimes you might be doing the right thing, yeah, to be the wife material. And sometimes, believe me or not, it could be that they're using you. That's why you're the wife material. So getting into the story, we have this couple. Oh, well, not couple right now, but you know how people start things and get to know each other. And before you know it, you call each other couples and things like that. So they met back home. When I say back home means Africa. They met back home before they came down to the United States. However, they were not going out at that time. You have friends that you guys know from, back home and things like that. And you get to America and you be like, oh, this is this person. I know him from here, or I know him from there. So 2006, to get the story started, here in America, they started going out. They started talking. He was in another state. She was in another state in our community. He came down because, I love you and things like that. You know, all the sweet words men would tell you when they are looking for something. So he came down to Massachusetts, convinced her that he really loved her. He really wanted to be with her. And she was just like, oh, let's give it time. And he was like, no, we do not have to give it time. I really want you. I do not want to lose you and things like that, that we have to get it going. And she was like, get what going? He was like, he wants to marry her. So as time goes on, she was like, we need to kind of like take it slow. And he was like, no, we do not need to take anything slow, that I just want you. And who would, think in their senses that somebody wanting you is something bad? I'm just looking to see if I see some things here. So she was just like, okay, let's see whatever, wherever we can take this to. They started going out, like I told you earlier on. He was in another state and moved over to where she was in our community. However, when they started going out, he started pressurizing her that they needed to stay together. They needed to start living together and things like that. And she told him that no matter what, I cannot get married to you right now. We still need to take things slow. So he kept talking about it, that you really need to think about it. I don't want to lose you and things like that. So she contacted her family back home and they did the marriage. So after they did the marriage, he started telling her, actually, after they did the marriage, he started acting up and she was like, what's going on? Oh, he does not have papers. When I say I do not have papers means I don't have a green card. I don't have a citizenship. I mean, if you're in America, there's something that you need to have, is a documentation that would enable you to work, like a stay that enables you to be here. So he told her, I do not have those things and I really need that. And I do know that, you're a citizen and you need to file for me. So she was like, we just got married and all you're talking about is filing. And he was like, well, that's the only thing that would make me work. That's the only way I could work. And mind you, he was working before. However, when they got married, he stopped working because he wanted to pressurize her into making sure that she files for that green card. So she started telling him, you needed to work, you need to do something. This is not the plan. This is not what you told me initially when we started. Then time went on and bingo, she became pregnant. When she got pregnant, at that point, this person that they're talking about, when you're working and you have to do work with your hands and things like that and you're pregnant, it's kind of hard for you. This person was in the medical field, so it was definitely very hard for her. So now she has to start thinking about her husband, and who would be married and not want to help their partner? So at that point, she then filed for him. Remember, I already told you how they got married and things like that. So immediately she filed for him. She said it was like a lock for him. His papers did not waste time. He got the papers. However, instead of this guy to start working, he started messing around. So this is somebody that does have the nursing background. And you know how people say, oh, nurses work a lot, they do overtime and things like that. Instead of my brother to be working, he was busy partying with other women. So she realized that ever since he got this paper, all he was concerned about is sleeping out. He started sleeping out, and she started complaining that, what's happening? What's going on? Why are you not staying home? It's not like you're working. What's happening? And then it became like a verbal, or would I say, well, verbal and emotional abuse, because he started using words, saying things and calling her names and all sort of things. And then later on she became curious, like, what is going on? And she started, looking. At the end of the day, she found out through his phone that yes, he was really cheating on her with other women. So that answered why he was not staying home. So she confronted him and said, this is not the plan. Ever since we've had a child, ever since I've been pregnant now, you're not even doing anything in the house. You don't want to work. And when I filed for you, you gave me an excuse saying that you wanted me to file for you because you want to have this green card so that you can take care of your family, and that's not what is happening right now. At that point, each time she talks about it, he would start drinking alcohol and start breaking stuff all around. This is somebody that, had a pregnant woman. As time goes on, she was calling the family, telling the family that this is what is happening. This is what your son is doing. And you really need to talk to him. Guess what the mother will tell her? You're a woman. A woman endures. You're supposed to, keep your home. Do not break your home. I mean, I don't get it. Where did we lose it in Africa? Why is it that when something is happening, we cannot address it? Why do we always blame the woman if the home is not in peace? This is a mother that was supposed to call her son to order. However, she's also enabling him. Because why would somebody just sit and say that it's something that everybody endures, so you also have to endure it? Is that fair? Is that how it should be? No. But it's just so sad that things like that kept going on. She would call the sisters. The sisters would not even care about what she had to say. At the end of the day, one of the sisters that she was even helping was the one who was coaching him on how he would maltreat her more. So I don't understand where people lose it. Because this is somebody that was crying for her to get married to him. But at the end of the day now, he's the one maltreating her. So what happened? What would we call this? Because to me, this feels like he already came pre-planned. However, she was heavily pregnant. She kept working. She couldn't work all the hours that she was working because, like I told you, the kind of job she's doing, she has to lift things and all that, because medical fields, of course, you have to attend to patients and stuff like that. This guy did not care. When he finally decided to start working, he would go to work, and sometimes he's not even at work. When she calls, he's not answering the phone. When he answers, oh, he's busy, he'll be right home. When he comes home, it's something different. It's like he has to, take it out like the verbal way, or he has to be drunk. He kept manipulating her, telling her that they should buy a house. They bought a house in America. Of course, when you buy a house in America, I want you guys to pay attention to what I'm about to say. I really want you to do. Because we have a lot of narcissists that are out there that do not understand it. So these people, like I said, she was pregnant, so I hope you're understanding all the story. She was working. He was not working. Then he decided to start working when he got the papers, because that was the condition he left there. Like, I'm not going to work if, kind of like, if I don't have my papers, there's nothing I could do. However, he was doing here and there before he met her. But because he wanted that blackmail of, oh, is it because I don't have this? So she had to make sure that, she filed for him. So going back to what I was saying about the house. When she was pregnant with that child, they bought a house. When they bought a house, the both of them's name had to be there. But at that point, when they were buying the house, she was the only person working, because he stopped working again. She bought this house, wrote her name on the house. I believe it was only her name that was on the property. However, remember I said they were married, right? So we are understanding whatever is going on. But it was with her credit, it was with her information that they used in buying the house. Whenever it was time to pay bills, she would give excuses. I do not have a job. Then she started saying, you need to start working. You cannot just leave everything for me to be doing and stuff like that. Each time when she says something, it becomes a verbal abuse. It becomes emotional abuse. It becomes a psychological abuse, because he is now gaslighting her into, keeping quiet. So when people want to mess with you, they will try to trigger you. They will try to find something to distract you. So that's the job of a narcissist. I call them narcissists, because who would go around being normal, trying to, make people sad or make his own wife feel that kind of pain? She had a baby girl, a lovely baby girl, and he started, working more hours. But she had to return to work at a point. After you do your maternity stuff and all that, you have to definitely return to work. So when she returned to work, he started working less hours. This person working less hours was not really helpful at home. She would be cooking and, trying to do other things, and he would be like, oh, he's coming, he would do this, oh, just do this or just do that. So, and a lot of times she would be like, okay, we need to repair this, we need to repair that. And he would be like, oh, you don't need to call any workman, whatever, I'll do it. She would go into the, Home Depot with him. Home Depot is like where you buy the materials for building and stuff like that. They would get the stuff. He would get some things that he's not even supposed to get. At the end of the day, he would leave it there. He would not use those things. So it will now be like a waste. These are things that they're supposed to fix the house with, but it's just there. And when she reminds him, then it becomes a problem. I'm the husband, you don't tell me what to do and things like that. Our African community, a lot of times when men talk, they will say, oh, I'm the husband. So I want us to get something straight here. When people are together, we're supposed to respect each other. In Africa, And culturally, we always say the man is the head. However, some men don't act like the head. And that is something that they need to start thinking about. Imagine somebody, being so heavily pregnant, had to go through all those things by herself. Now the person had the baby. Then they continue again. So where is the joy of, we're together? 1 minute, it's like they're in love. The next minute, it's like a fight. Some might say, oh, didn't you see the red flag? Sometimes people don't see the red flag. Or sometimes it's right there, but you're not even sure it's a red flag. In her case, she was like, I tried to make my marriage work because of, okay, what would people say? And because I already have a daughter with him. They kept going like that, and he started, becoming okay. And then bingo, he impregnated her again. After he impregnated her, when you first get your papers, they first give you like few years before they now give you another permanent one or stuff like that. So he first got those, those temporary cards was when he started showing his color. However, after that, he kept exhibiting his stuff. But this is somebody that wanted to make sure that her marriage works. So she endured, like his mother said. You need to endure. You're a woman. You're an African woman. You're supposed to endure things like that. You do not just jump off from your marriage and start whining or start crying. She gave birth to another baby girl. A lovely baby girl. So that's making 2 girls now. She started talking to him again. It seems you're not utilizing, your license. Because how would you be a nurse and you're not really working with the hours that you're supposed to work? This is somebody that is supposed to pick up hours. He just put himself in as a relief staff. Relief staff is, it's like you pick up hours of whatever time you want to work. So we all know here that when people are nurses, sometimes they have like their full-time jobs. Some even have 2 jobs and things like that. But this guy decided to just be a relief staff because, of course, he wanted to control how he, should be at work and things like that. And she started telling him, we need to talk about this. I'm not comfortable anymore. And the next thing will be like he will start throwing things, breaking stuff and all that. They had to call the police here and there because of what was going on. How would you have 2 beautiful girls and, just make the home like a prison? That's what I'll call it. Because sometimes people say, oh, even if he's doing something, it's not affecting the children. No, it is. It is. People need to start knowing that. When domestic violence hits, it hits everyone in that home. If you think your children are not being affected, they really are. And a lot of times, people will say, oh, well, it's not domestic violence. Like here, in her case, there was no physical. Some people would say so. It's not domestic violence, but it is. Somebody does not have to be physical to make it something bad. Emotional abuse is deadly. It's more deadly than the physical abuse. Now, am I saying that people should tolerate the physical abuse? No, I'm not saying that, because I want you to get me right. At the end of the day, this kid started growing up, seeing all what was going on. She was not happy about it. She sat him down and said, we need to work on our marriage. We cannot raise our children in this manner, because our children are seeing all the abuse that is going on, and I don't want them to have this kind of life. We're raising girls. We're raising two beautiful girls, and I don't want them to have this kind of life. And he was like, what do you mean? You just have to, listen to me when I talk to you, and you just have to tolerate me. After all, I'm a man, you're a woman, so why would I have to be listening to you? Why do you always have to talk and nag? If only you can just keep quiet and just be paying for things like you always do, things will be fine. But now you keep telling me I have to go work, I have to go, do more hours or whatever. Do I have to? And you keep calling me, asking me where I am. So my thing is, if you're married, why should you be sleeping out of the house? Why should you be somewhere that your wife is not aware of? Well, in her case, she became aware of it and started knowing that he was sleeping around. In this America. But, like I told you before, she confronted him. She saw it on his phone already that he was already doing that. And of course, you know how cheaters always do? They always deny everything and make the victim be like a crazy person, because he then started telling people that she was the one doing nonsense. He was not doing his own nonsense. But as a matter of fact, she stated that he was the one doing all that. She's like, why would I stay with you? And all you do to me is this. Is this what you're going to use to make me happy in the marriage? Was it a crime that, I even agreed to do your papers? That when we got married, I didn't even want all these paper things to come in. But because you are my husband, that is why I had to stand by you. That is why I had to go file for you. And ever since I filed for you, it's been one problem or the other and things like that. Let me see, just trying to shut this door. So there has been one problem or the other. That, is this how life should be? Is this how you're going to treat me as your wife? Is this what you were taught to learn? And she was like, I cannot continue doing things this way. If that is what you want for yourself, I'm out. And he was like, as the, African man, you cannot leave me. If you leave me, I'm just going to tell people that you're the problem. And you know that they'll believe me. And she's like, I'm ready. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. At this point, she stated that, I don't know what to do. I keep crying every day. I was depressed. How do I go to work and function? I couldn't function. She's like, I'm in the medical field here. I'm supposed to be advising people on how not to be in abusive relationship. However, I am in one and I didn't know what to do. Is this how I'll continue living my life? This is not what I wanted. This is not what I need. This is not what my children want. My two baby girls do not deserve this. I do not want to raise my girls to think this is life. I want them to have a happy home. I do not want to have to get them looking at me that I stayed with their father who is abusive and then land into their own relationship and feel that this is what they also need to go through. I kept trying. I'll come back home crying, telling him that we needed to work our marriage. We have to work our marriage. This is not what I want. But with him, he felt, I'm the woman. So I have to take whatever he's dishing out. I knew some women that he was sleeping around with because they are in our community. I confronted him, but he made me like a fool, like I didn't know what I was doing. So where do I go? How do I start? And when I tell his people, they look at me like I'm the problem. This kept going on and on and on and on. She was like, I went back to school to get another degree so that way things will be better off for the family. As I was working on that degree, I was also taking my kids to school. I was also making sure that they're doing their extracurricular activities. I was also making sure that I was the one taking, care of them. So it was like my life was surrounded all around these children. And the person who was supposed to be like a support person, well, why should it even be a support person? Or if somebody is your partner, are they not supposed to be doing things with you? So would I say that he's supposed to be babysitting? Because you shouldn't even be calling it babysitting if you're watching your own children. So I don't even know what to say, Because this was just uncalled for. She was like, I kept going. I finished my school. I started getting paid more. Of course, he was so happy. Then he started telling me that, oh, I needed to, buy other things in our country. We needed to buy land and properties in our country. I gave him money. He bought those lands and properties. He bought some in his own community, back home. And I kept telling him that I needed, him to make sure my name was there. He told me that your name is going to be there. However, we need to send more money home. As time goes on, I started feeling that something was going wrong somewhere. Because whenever I'm looking at the project, it feels like it's not being done. But he's always telling me, bring money, bring money, bring money. Remember, when I tell stories, I have to be the victim here. So a lot of times when I put the titles, I come in form of the victims because we're talking about real life stories here. So some people might say, why are you saying I? That's the way we tell our stories here. We represent our victims here. So they kept going on, things kept going on and on and on. That building started developing, she said. I saw that things started, developing. So I was kind of happy about it. However, I did not know that it was because of the money that he was getting from me at that point that made him to be so in love with me. So remember, this was somebody that was acting crazy before, that was not doing things at home. So now that he's collecting all the money from her, he started making sure that he's more available. He started making sure that he's giving her more time. All the sleeping outside started reducing because, of course, he has to make sure that that money is coming. So she was like, I had to keep giving him money. I do not even have the count of the exact amount. I cannot even say this is the exact amount that I gave him. So at the end of the day, I told him what is going on. And he told me, do not worry, they are still building. His sisters started, calling and asking for money here and there. And I would send them money, she stated. But at the end of the day, I was feeling that something is going wrong somewhere. I then started observing more. Women's intuition. When something is wrong, sometimes you feel it. So she started feeling that there's something going wrong somewhere. So it's like, what is going on with my life? I don't understand what is happening. And I've been asking, these have been years. So this has been over how many years now? And the house is still not built. Fine, I will see the structure, and then the next minute, it's like there is no building, coming up. Because she was like, it was a big land. And it was not just that land. We bought a lot of lands because I gave him a lot of money. At the end of the day, she was like, I told him, I have to talk to the agent. I have to talk to someone who is working towards building these things, because I don't understand why up till now the building is not, standing yet and all that. When you're working hard and you definitely know that this is something you're sweating for, you definitely want to see what is coming out from it. She's like, 1 minute I feel like the building is going on, the next minute it feels like it's not going on. She's like, at this point I don't even know if I should trust him or I should not trust him anymore, because sometimes he will come and take money from me, and then the next minute I will just see him laughing, and 1 minute he's telling me something happened to his family and he has to send the money to his family and things like that. So at that point, I don't even know what to do anymore. I started questioning myself that, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? What am I supposed to do? The two kids started telling her, Mommy, we do not like how you and Daddy are always talking, how Daddy is always screaming at you, how we always have to call the police. But for Dad, it was like an okay thing. She stated that there was a time the neighbors had to call the police. Imagine neighbors calling police for you in America. Imagine. What would lead you into that you make your life so bad that it's every time that they have to call police? Now, some people will say, oh, why are they calling police? They don't want anybody to die, and then they will blame them. And sometimes, why is the woman calling the police, or why is the other victim calling the police? Because they don't want to die. In this case of her, this victim now, because she's a victim, whether you like it or not, she always resorted into calling the police because that's what he left her with. If somebody is a drunkard and they resort into breaking things, what else do you know that they're going to do? She said, I started telling our pastor because things started getting out of hand. Instead of them talking to him, they were telling me to endure. A woman endures. A good woman keeps her home. I got tired. I got frustrated. I got sad. I got mad that my children have to keep crying every time. Is that what I bargained for? She's like, now I'm looking at those two children that they are the only good thing that came out of this relationship. She's like, but what would I have two girls say to their own children if I stayed in an abusive relationship? I then told him that I need a divorce. You're not working things out. I need out. He got mad, he got pissed, he kept throwing things, throwing tantrums. Here and there, we'll call the police, he would beg me, we'll come back home again. But for how long would I keep doing this? Then I told him that I cannot do this anymore. He needs to leave the house. He told me I would have to pay him before he would agree to leave the house. So he refused to leave the house. And I was like, I cannot deal with your violence anymore. because it's getting so sad, it's getting so bad that things are just getting so crazy. Our two girls are getting so overwhelmed. They're going to school. What if they start saying things in school? She's like, you are in the medical field, I am in the medical field. And here we are. We cannot even make our home a safe place. That I cannot do this anymore. And then he started telling her, I have already told you, if you want out, you have to give me money. You'll have to give me money. You have to give me money. Mind you, remember I told you how they got the house, right? Because a lot of times people will say, oh, they both bought the house. However, somebody stole the house from somebody. Some useless people would go around. They wouldn't know people's problems. They wouldn't know people's, how they, got their property. Sometimes, no matter what, if you are married in America, you both buy something or one person buys something, you both still own the property. Now, people in their church, did they know that she was the one paying the money? No. Did they know that she was the one that did the down payment? No. Even if people knew, our people are so, how would I say senseless sometimes. Sorry to use that word, but I have to use it. Because a lot of times, they just apportion blame, either because they are already feeling sad that they also are in their own mess and they cannot get out of it. But because this one got out of her mess, they would blame her for getting out of her mess. At the same time, now, this is the person that is asking for money. Okay? She decided to give him the money she was asking for. He took money out of that house. Left her with the children. He did not give her no feeding money or anything for the children. She kept going. And as time goes on, he realized he became like homeless. He wants to come back to the house. And she was like, to which house? There is no house anywhere. So like I said earlier on, even people that bought houses together, you do not know their story. You go around saying two, talking like parrots. A lot of times people don't know people's story. Sometimes it could be that guy, only that guy paying the mortgage. Sometimes it could be only that female paying that mortgage. Sometimes it could be that it was only that female that paid the down payment, or only that guy that paid the down payment. A lot of times, people just come out to tell you what they want you to hear because they want you to feel sorry for them. It's not everybody that cares about coming out to explain themselves, to say, okay, this is my own part of the story. However, because of our true life story, we're coming here to educate people so that those people that enable things will see the other view of some other things. And so that abusers might end up changing their mind not to be abusers, not to be manipulators, the perpetrators. And so that the victims that are in abusive relationship now can know that they are not alone. It's not like we're telling the story for the fun of it. We're telling the story so that other people can learn from it. We were raised in our culture, in our society, in our community, not to talk about things. That is why things happen and people just, keep making things worse. So next time when you want to run your mouth about couples, or about people that are divorced, or about people that are separated, or about people that are not together, or about people that are parted, if you do not know the full story, do not assume. In her community, people started talking, oh, she chased him out of the house, she took her husband's house, she took her this house, the house that They did not even know that she was the one that was paying for everything. So that is where I always say, when you see bitter people coming to talk about people sometimes, it's because either they are in a bitter relationship and they're not being able to get out of it, or they've been, jealous about that victim before. And of course, now they're happy about things that is happening in her life. So they want to think they can mock her. She was like, this was not a mockery for me. I was so happy that I celebrated my divorce. She said, I celebrated my divorce because who would want to be coming home every day and thinking what would happen next? It was like a disaster. It was like a drama. Every time I came in, it's only when I dropped money that we had a happy home. My 2 girls have already seen abuse every freaking time. So this is not what I craved for. This is not what I prayed for. He said, I've tried pastors. I've tried, what do you call it? I've tried our African people, like, to talk to tell them what I was going through. But instead of them helping me, they were mocking me. She said, so that was the only way out. He said, but now that I've left him, these useless people are parading themselves, thinking that they are laughing at me. She's like, I don't care if they're laughing. My own thing is, they are also saying that I got his house. She's like, I just laugh at them because they're ignorant, because they don't know the full story. And even if they know, she said, do you think they care? I said, they do not care. At the end of the day, I told her, it's you and your God. It's you and Allah. It's you and your God. Whatever you believe in, it's you and your God. I say itakullah. Itakullah means fear Allah in English. If you have the fear of God, then you wouldn't care about whatever anybody's saying. Now that this guy got all the money, some useless enablers in their society, in the community, in our community, are busy parading, saying nonsense that, she took her husband's house. They are not talking about how he's not feeding those 2 girls. They're not talking about how she's the only one doing everything for these 2 girls. But because she said most of them even calling me don't know I know their story. She's like, some of them, their husband is, also sleeping around, so they do not have anything to do but to enable it because they do not want to be divorced. So they tell you they want to keep their marriage. And because she's like, because I left, now I'm the bad one. So my message today for you, because this is a long story, but I would like to end it here because more things happened after that, but I would like to end it here today. But my message today is, when you see people divorced, separated, and I'm really talking to our African community, because all of this happened in our African community. It's always us. We are the ones, and what would I say? It's always women that are the problem. Men, I don't think, have problems sometimes. They help each other. Women are always the problem sometimes. In her case, it was the women that were gossiping. She's like, but do I care? No, I do not care. Because at the end of the day, I have a better life than them. She's like, I was living more comfortably than them. They would think that, me not being married, I'm sad, but that is not what I see, Hajia. So when next you people want to be running your mouth when you hear people's story, make sure that if that is the job that you've taken, because some people, that is the only job they've taken, to be going around and be talking about people. Make sure you know the full story before you start talking around or before you start saying your gibberish or your nonsense. They say Soloma Kinde, Engulma. It's only talk. When you are talking, also, make sure you're not just talking because you want to side the perpetrator. And do not silence the victim if you want to side the perpetrator. You keep doing it. However, do not silence the victim. Alright? So, we're going to stop here today, and I'll be seeing you guys soon on our next episode at Sharing Life Issues with Her Excellency Hajia Ami on our YouTube channel every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, US time, and at 9 p.m. UK and Nigerian time, okay? Do not forget to subscribe. Do not forget to click on like, and do not forget to share. Invite your family and friends so that we all can be the change that we want to see in the society, in the community. So, like I said before, our music is not on because of all the YouTube policies and all that. So, we're working on that and we'll get to it, okay? I hope you have a wonderful day. Do not forget to read Al-Kahf. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahu la ilaha illa huwa hayyul qayyum la ta'khuzuhu sinatun wa la nawm lahu ma fi samawati wa man fi ardi man zal ladzi yashfa'u indahu illa bi izni ya'lamu ma bayna aydihim wa ma khalfahum wa la yahituna bi shay'in min ilmihi illa bima sha'a wasi'a kursiyyuhu samawati wal ard wa la yahuduhu hifzuhuma wa huwa al-aliyyul azim. For all our lovely viewers, we say we love you, and for all the haters too, we love you, because without you there wouldn't be a Sharing Life Issues with Her Excellency Hajia Ami. Peace out.